This is Rosen Institute's Your Law Firm, where Lee Rosen and Ned Days cover management, marketing, finance, and new technologies for building the practice you deserve. Rosen Institute members received this episode early, as well as exclusive segments on outsourcing to outside vendors, an answer to a member question about freelance intake services, as well as sessions from our systems program all about building processes in your firm. Get access to everything you're missing at roseninstitute.com/join. Here's Lee Rosen.
It's good to be with you from Tromsø, Norway, where we are stopped very briefly on a cruise along the postal route. We're making 43 stops on the northbound leg and 42 stops on the way south. These ships literally deliver the Norwegian mail, along with a whole lot of freight, and they allow passengers to make the entire cruise or just travel port to port. We're stopping and starting all day, with many stops lasting just 15 or 30 minutes while we rush on and off the ship or just head up to the top decks for a good view of the town. Today, we made our way over to the Arctic Cathedral during our 4-hour stop here in Tromsø. This is a chilly time of year, so the ground is covered with snow, it's windy and it's wet, but we're having a fabulous time cruising along, and we're hoping for clear skies so that we get a chance to see the northern lights.
It's time for your tech tip. Did you forget something? I know I did. I am terrible about forgetting birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, and frankly the names of 90% of the people I meet. But I screwed up big time this year. May 1st was World Passkey Day. I can hear you gasping in disbelief. Apparently May 1st has been World Password Day since 2013, but this year it officially became World Passkey Day. Now, I say officially, and maybe I'm a little bit cynical, but I am starting to suspect that there is no real legislative body responsible for designating special days, and you can just make them up willy-nilly, except, of course, for Talk Like a Pirate Day, Donut Day, and Detached Steel Shed Day. Those all seem pretty legitimate to me. More than most types of businesses, professional services like law firms always have added concerns around privacy. When our data is compromised, it's usually a much bigger deal than if a lawn care company has a data breach. So I often get questions about how quote-unquote secure this product or that product is. And you may have heard me say before that I think, as much as possible, you should make security the problem and responsibility of big companies with lots of money to throw at the issue and reputations to maintain. Whatever you want to say about increasingly giving them every single piece of data about us, letting Google or Microsoft or Amazon manage data security is going to be a lot cheaper, safer, and more convenient than trying to maintain and protect a server in your office. But even that only goes so far. We and our employees and contractors are still the weakest links. That question about which service is most secure kind of misses the point. The bulk of our data breaches are the result of social engineering or sending an email to the wrong person or accidentally making a folder public when we didn't mean to, or more often than not using insecure passwords. If you are using 123456, password, QWERTY, dragon, football, baseball, or let me in, congratulations, yours is in the top 20 most common passwords and will take mere seconds for a brute force attack to access. Now, there are, of course, solutions to this. Forcing password changes regularly so that your employees have to change it to something like password 3 or password 4 every couple of months, and two-factor authentication that requires you to remember which authenticator app you used to generate a code for this particular site, and hope to goodness you never lose that phone. Passkeys solve all of these problems. A passkey replaces the password portion of the current username and password combination. It's not something you choose or remember or write down. As far as you are concerned, it doesn't really exist. The passkey is actually a pair of cryptographic keys generated by your device, be it a phone, computer, or tablet. One is stored on your device and verifies your identity, and another is stored on the application side and authenticates its legitimacy. The way it all works is a little technical, but passkeys get rid of a lot of problems. They almost eliminate the ability of hackers to perform phishing attacks, where they get you to visit a site that looks like a legitimate bank portal, email sign-in, or something else, and they get you to enter your username and password, which they promptly steal and use to access your account. They also get rid of the need for two-factor codes. You are authenticating with the device itself and a biometric or a PIN. Passkeys can be saved to your system keychain or third-party password manager and be synced between devices. Windows 11 supports them, Apple Password supports them, and all of the major browsers support them. No more forcing password changes, no more fighting with employees to use stronger passwords, and no more worrying that some clever scammer will send them a convincing email that gets them to plug their credentials into a fake web page. And what I think is one of the coolest features is it allows for easy login on devices that you don't own. You can log into a web account on a public computer by clicking the passkey option, scanning a QR code with your phone, and you are in. No fiddling with accessing the passwords app on your phone and trying to copy over that 20+ character string of random letters and numbers. So that's all great, but where are we in terms of being able to use passkeys on a daily basis and passkeys replacing passwords in all of our most common apps, especially the ones we use for work? Well, new Microsoft and Google accounts are now passwordless by default, urging users to use passkeys instead of passwords. And you have the ability to use passkeys on your Google Workspace and Microsoft 365 accounts. Enterprise Microsoft accounts are still lagging and being migrated to this functionality slowly, but chances are you are good to go if you want to start enforcing passkeys on your business suite. Plenty of other consumer websites have followed suit. You can use passkeys on eBay, Best Buy, Amazon, Citi, Coinbase, CVS, Uber, and thousands of others. You may have set up a few already, and just about every third-party password manager supports them now too. But we aren't just lowly consumers. We spend our days in the rarefied air of legal software, which is not exactly known for being first to the party when it comes to new tech. So unfortunately, a lot of the tools where we are storing the data we most want to keep safe still don't support passkeys. DocuSign supports them, not legal specific, but certainly used by a lot of lawyers. But Clio, MyCase, Lawmatics, ShareFile, NetDocuments, Westlaw, I'm afraid not. Some of these services allow you to sign in with a Google or Microsoft account, and in that circumstance, you would have the ability to use the passkey for the Google or Microsoft login. But as far as I could find, none of these services I mentioned have any announcements on planned passkey implementation. I really hope that changes. This seems like a pretty minor issue to some people, but if you have started using passkeys on sites that support them, you know just how convenient they are. But beyond that, under the hood, they are a lot more secure than the old tedious username, password, confirmation code, song and dance that we've been suffering with for years now. And they remove one of the biggest management and security headaches that a lot of law firms face. I'm Ned Days, and that's your tech tip.
And now for your moment of concise advice. Your financial goal as a law firm owner, it can be distilled into one clear mission. You need to grow your net worth. So how do you do that? Well, there are two primary paths. One we'll call fast cash. The second we will call slow equity. And you need to choose your pathway deliberately because the clarity of your decision, it directly influences your financial stability and the real-world value of your law firm down the road. So first, let's define these terms. Fast cash, that means money hitting your bank account right now, this week, real dollars that you can move to Schwab or Chase or wherever it is that you stash your wealth. Your net worth, it climbs in real time. That's what we're calling fast cash. Slow equity, on the other hand, well, that's betting today's profits on a future payday. It's building a business that you hope to sell at some point down the road. You're counting on a buyer showing up and writing you a check, but there's something you need to know about this buyer. This is brutal, but it's the truth. The most likely buyer, that person, look around because they probably already work for you, and they've got serious problems. They may have just cleared up their student debt. That would be great, but they've got a mortgage and they've probably got kids. And the reality is that the idea of paying you multiple years of their income, well, that is terrifying to them. And the reality is when it comes time to close the deal, to sell them the law firm, to sign the documents, well, they are just as likely to quit their job and walk away as they are to show up and sign those documents and hand you a check. Trust me, I have been down this path, and they are not the only person involved who's going to be terrified. This is a difficult situation to navigate. When I sold my law firm, I had a good buyer, and I had worked with her for years. I had invested time and attention and energy into helping her grow into her role in the law firm. Over many years, I worked to help her to get into a position to be able to afford to buy my equity. And that didn't happen by accident. It took mentoring and financial preparation and a shared vision. We worked hard together to enable her to buy the law firm. We were a strange combination. We were a buyer and a seller, but we were also a teacher and a student, passing the baton while also shaping the person who could take the law firm and run the next lap. It is a difficult scenario to navigate successfully, but the approach, while awkward, it can work, but it will only work if you treat it with the seriousness that it deserves. Most law firm owners simply don't. They treat this much more like an arm's length transaction, and that generally doesn't work out the way that they would hope. Now, I'm not here to say that law firms can't sell successfully. Sometimes they do. Sometimes the founder gets paid and all goes well. But for most law firm owners, the proceeds of a sale, they need to be treated as a bonus. The real money, the reliable money, that's the fast cash that you've already put into your investment account. That's the only money that you can 100% absolutely count on. That's the money that you'll be able to spend. But it doesn't need to be an all or nothing thing. It's not all fast cash or slow money. It can be a hybrid. A hybrid strategy might, in fact, be the smartest play. That might be the best way to think about this, to look at it. Day to day, as you navigate the growing of the law firm, you're constantly making decisions with financial consequences. Every expenditure is a choice. Could that money have gone into savings, or is it a smart investment into the business, into research and development, into marketing, into growth? The key here is ROI. Are your investments paying off? You're making these decisions, and you've got to be cognizant of how and why you're spending the money. More importantly, are these investments paying off in a way that your future buyer, the person who's going to continue to grow this law firm, can they understand these decisions? Do they appreciate these decisions? Can they sustain the growth that you're building into the law firm? So as you make these decisions, as you invest, as you spend this money, look around. That future buyer, she may well be in the office right next door. Is she going to want to inherit the commitments that you're making today? Will she appreciate the growth that you're investing in? Will that marketing expense that you just approved, will it help her to pay off the debt that she's incurring to you? Is the ROI of the expenditure that you're making right now something that she's willing to pay for? Example, will that new hire that you're making right now, will that person stick around long enough to justify the cost? Will your buyer appreciate the money that you invested in this new person? If all of this is a well-planned growth strategy, great. But if it's just a high-risk bet disguised as progress, well, that's not so great. Fast cash versus slow money. Maybe ultimately, it makes a lot of sense to diversify. A little to the brokerage account, a little reinvested into the law firm. Hedge your bets, build wealth now while still developing the potential of this payday down the road. So look at your business objectively. Look at it carefully. Don't gamble everything on a hypothetical payday. Pull out some money now. Take profit. Put it into those investment accounts. Get it out of the business and into your pocket. Do that on a weekly basis. Build wealth today. Fast cash, you can bank on it. It's in the account. Slow equity, it's a bet. It can be a good bet for the right person who calculates the odds, who understands the return on investment, who is committed to that sort of approach. But for most of us, we haven't calculated the odds correctly. We don't realize that we've made a bad bet. We end up sitting it down at a closing table across from an empty chair. Fast cash today, for most of us, it beats uncertain equity nearly every time. And that's your moment of concise advice. Wrapping up from Tromsø, thanks for spending a few minutes with me and Ned today. We hope you have a great weekend and an even better week next week. Keep plugging away, moving forward, and getting things done. You're on the right track. You'll get there, I promise. We're all in this together, and together we build better practices through better marketing, better management, and better technology. Until next time, I'm Lee Rosen.
Thanks for listening to Your Law Firm. Subscribe to the Friday File at roseninstitute.com and join thousands of lawyers focused on working on, instead of in their practices. You'll find safe, successful, actionable approaches for transforming your firm. Sign up for free at roseninstitute.com.